Part 3. Freedom Alchemy Class. Boot Camp. Boot Camp Freedom Alchemy Class. Boot Camp Design Template. Saint Germain, 24th November, 2018. Invocation. Mighty, all-pervading presence, we give praise and thanks for the happiness pervading those under this radiation. We give praise and thanks that the simple key to perfect happiness may be given to bless and to anchor these children of God into their own firm dominion. We give praise for the harmony maintained within each disciple and initiate, and that they feel the necessity to continue it. We give praise that I am everywhere present, controlling every outer activity and bringing it into perfection. Saint Germain. Greetings, dear ones. Surrounding each individual is a thought world created by him or her. Within this thought world is the seed, the divine presence, the I am, which is the only acting presence there is in the universe and which directs all energy. This energy can be intensified beyond any limit through the conscious activity of the individual. The divine presence within is likened unto the pit or seed of a peach, the thought world around it unto the pulp of the peach. The pulp represents not only the thought world created by the individual, but also the universal electronic substance ever present, waiting to be acted upon by the conscious determination of the individual, to be precipitated into his visible use as the form of whatsoever he may desire. The sure pathway to the understanding and use of this conscious power comes through self-control. What do I mean by self-control? First, the recognition of the I Am intelligence as the only acting presence. Second, that knowing this, we know there is no limit to the power of its use. Third, that individuals, having been given free will and choice, do create in the world about them whatsoever their thought through their attention is held firmly upon. The time has arrived when all must understand that thought and feeling are the only and mightiest creative power in life or in the universe. Thus, the only way to the definite use of the full power of one's thought and feeling, which is God in action, is through self-control and self-correction, by which one may quickly reach the attainment, the understanding whereby he may direct and use this creative thought power without any limit whatsoever. When sufficient self-control is attained, it enables individuals to hold the thought steady upon a given desire, likened unto the flame of an acetylene torch held immovable. Thus, thought and feeling held upon a given desire unwaveringly, with the consciousness that it is the I Am presence and intelligence thinking that is in God in action, then will they understand that they may bring into visibility, precipitate into visibility, whatsoever they desire. Today's lesson, dear ones, all rotates around the qualification of self, the self-realization of what does and what does not sustain and maintain the mighty presence of the I Am in your outer manifestations. I have told you that the I Am presence is not separate or segregate. As it is the all-pervading power, it accepts that what you think, what you give your attention to, shall be allowed to manifest in your life. I told you yesterday that each and every one of you have the creative energy at your fingertips, It does not distinguish between what is good or bad, what is positive or negative. When you say I or I am, that is the magnetic dynamo that sets in motion the words that follow. I am sick, broke, or feeling miserable. Or I am healthy, wealthy, and happy. Whatever the thought projected, the manifestation comes into your world. Today, we wish to help you begin to be far more cognizant of where such thoughts come from and how they are overlooked, even ignored when it comes to self-awareness and self-control. Let's continue with our conditions of engagement with your I Am presence in a far more conscious, mindful, receptive, and responsive way. To qualify with your I Am presence first before engagement of any earthly spiritual activity through other individuals or groups. Those who are reaching to the light so earnestly, desiring to live in and be children of the light, are dwelling constantly in the higher spheres. The beauty of these spheres surpasses the fondest imagination of the outer consciousness. When you enter them consciously and at will, you will find all creation there, just as tangible as your physical buildings are here. To take your firm stand, I am the power of my complete self-control, forever sustained, will make it easier for you to gain this mastery. Students must be conscious that when they recognize the I Am presence acting, it is impossible for it to be interrupted or interfered with in any way. Know there is no time nor space. Then the knowing of the vastness of eternity is within your grasp. To enter a higher sphere than your physical world in full consciousness is but an adjusting or changing of your consciousness. How do we do this? Answer: by knowing you are consciously there. Affirm often: through the power of the electronic circle which I have created, I am no longer touched by any doubts or fears. I joyously grasp the scepter which I am and step boldly forth into any of these higher spheres that I wish, retaining perfectly clear conscious memory of my activity there. In this way, one may quickly find himself/herself enjoying limitless freedom and the perfect happiness of being active in any sphere he chooses. To be aware of what is 1,000 years in advance is as easily and readily attained, in fact, more so as going to your library in search of a book. The great delusion the outer consciousness of mankind has built up, creating time and space in its belief, has been the great stumbling block to humanity's freedom. Those who have reached the great disillusionment that wealth or the outer effect of things cannot bring happiness will understand with great blessing that within their own creative thought, power, and feeling are held in perfect happiness, perfect freedom, and perfect dominion. When the student once understands that whatsoever he or she connects himself/herself with through his attention, he or she becomes a part of, to the degree of the intensity with which his/her attention is fixed. He or she will see the importance of keeping their attention off the seeming destructive angles of human experience, no matter what they are. To discuss the seeming inability, shortcomings, or faults of your friends and associates, but builds that element upon which your discussion rests within your own consciousness, and also adds to the appearance which seems to be in the other individual. Know that there is nothing hidden that is not revealed in all activity if you remain steady upon the path of truth. And when outer interference invades your world, stand forth with the clarity of your decree to nullify and dissolve such projections. Simply say, in the name of the beloved mighty I Am presence, I say to all human creation, no. By the victory of the sacred fire, you have no power. Your day is done. May thou dissolved and consumed from the face of the earth forever. It is very important to stipulate you have no power to that human creation and to those human forces. It is absolutely imperative to be maintained. And when you ask that they be dissolved and consumed, I think it is a very important part of the work, for not only is that accomplishment being temporarily done, but when the great cosmic light in its greater power descends of its own volition, which it will, that means the activity of that light will then take over the charge of the quality of mankind and enable it to do a great sweep, as it were, the dissolving and consuming effect for the conditions that are in the atmosphere of Earth, which it is the province of the great cosmic light to dissolve. We cannot always tell just how it is going to manifest. At first, it may begin with great rays of light that hundreds of people will see, and they will feel the activity of the forces of light. Should it decide to act in that manner, you would see the greatest transformation in human beings you ever witnessed on earth. So, when you engage within earthly activities, spiritual or other, with individuals or groups, known or unknown, know that what you give your attention to, you are creating. Do not allow interference to overturn your peace or stillness. If you do, you are energetically tying yourself to those groups or individuals which I said yesterday will keep you from stepping into your divine sovereignty. It is one thing to be engaging in family, accepting your responsibilities and roles within these circles of life, but it is another giving your energies to others that while searching for the I Am presence within, which has the potential to build boundaries that can inhibit your growth far more than anyone may realize. People and groups are placed upon your path according to the thoughts and beliefs and programs you have accepted as your own. Yet, they are not going to offer you what your I Am presence alone can give. So be very mindful, watchful, and alert, especially through the mediums of internet, television, and mind-controlling subliminal advertising. Be mindful of all the ways you are influenced, and as to why people come into your life, invited or uninvited. By all means, if you see they are there to offer you something, then stay only as long as you need to be. Then quickly offer your gratitude and blessings and move toward your own divine mighty freedom within your own divine plan and purpose. If they are there to take advantage of you, use your powers of the I Am to dissolve and consume by the use of the cosmic white fire light all that is not of God. Remember what we shared about teachers yesterday. You have only one teacher. Your all-pervading, all-governing, all-guiding, beloved God I Am presence. Demand divine justice be done, and it shall use its governing justice power to bring harmony and peace back into your life. 6. To qualify with your I Am presence first, before engagement of any unnecessary communications on any level. The entrance of the great I Am presence into the activity of mankind will only spread when a thread of light is manifested and self-sustained through the activity of the new disciples and initiates, as they expand a luminous presence like a mantle of softly falling golden snow. This gossamer veil of white fire substance will then be absorbed by the minds of humanity, the majority being entirely unaware, although there will be some who will sense the inner penetrating presence. The aim here, in this I Am Freedom class, is to co-create that gossamer veil, while going about their daily activities. To do this, one must become aware of the use of words and their distribution. Thoughts, words, and actions are all energy, and all contain consciousness. So, when one uses unnecessary energy within that consciousness, they are wasting life force energy that could be better utilized in higher and more productive and co-creational activities. The world is full of such use of language and self-expression, yet far more could be done without the use of words. From the standpoint of working within a unified group, and in this case where you are working from many different locations around the world, there is a tendency to use words through replies and responses that in fact offer no tangible or productive benefit. Platitudes, gratitudes, everydayness, the following of old patterns and the bolstering of others' personality needs, conscious or unconscious, the replies for the sake of replies, actually is a great waste of time, space, and energy. The use of your internet, as you see within almost every media format, is built around the concept of useless, impractical, broken, unworkable, unachievable, and unattainable waste of energy. For the dark forces, all this is such a blessing, for here they are able to corral human consciousness, hold them within the imprisonment of their own making. It is only the ignorance of humanity that cannot see this happening on a minute-by-minute basis. Your worldwide medias, internet, television, radio, gaming machines are all designed to hold humanity within the grasp of those lower and more dense vibrational frequencies. Oh, the children of the new generations, how they are being brainwashed. Drugs and addictions of all kinds are one of the greatest problems humanity faces today. I tell you, dear ones, I plead with you, stop wasting your time on that which has no further use on the path toward your mighty freedom. Your freedom shall be the freedom of others, but more so the new children of the earth. I will broach the subject again, but for now, I sense you are getting my point here. I see your consciousness moving far beyond that which is just about personal and group interaction. It is about self-awareness and self-control through the qualification of your I Am presence. 7. To qualify with your I Am presence first, before engagement of any I Am Freedom Alchemy class discussions, as individuals or class group, during the classes. Beloved brothers and sisters, I desire you to know that sometimes when I wish to be felt nearer to you, I do use language that tells you I am close, very close. For those of you who are clairsentient, you will feel this right now. It will be felt in many different ways, for each person is different, and their emotional and feeling body responds differently. Some will feel tingling, others warmth, and still others a deep peace. So, in this first I Am Freedom Alchemy class, as this is a new experience for all of us, I wish to protect not only each one of you, but the full radiation of the discourses, and in turn the group identity and balance within it. We would not dare to begin with a group of new people who do not hold a certain awareness according to the strength of the disciples and initiates therein. You will come to know that your part in this class is to hold a certain protection of the discourses as we naturally do. So, when I ask that there be no discussion about the class activity, it is twofold. 1, to protect the material and its radiation frequencies, and the other, until the individuals in the group have entered the full experience through their own individual encounters any sharing would be premature and could interfere with another's own perception. People must learn for themselves through self-realization, of which I speak of in more detail tomorrow. If this happens, they are not going to stand forth in their own I Am presence, but in the reflective experience of others that is simply not acceptable when it comes to divine sovereignty. With the work that you are aligning to do against the darker forces, you must be able to stand clearly in the light, both individually and as a group. Incidental, secondary, or supplementary experiences are not grounds to receive or attain higher vibrational resonances and light quotients. After the class is complete, I will make another assessment according to progress and productivity. You will, however, have an opportunity to be able to share your experiences, but only about that which your findings about the I Am presence has presented to you. Unrelated subject matter will not be acceptable. If you have any questions, ask them between now and Christmas Eve. And if you are guided by your I Am presence to share something relevant to the group, please do. But be mindful of why you are sharing. Be very careful of the glamour that sharing can have the tendency to highlight. I will speak of this in another point as we continue the lessons. I will be very strict about no more sharing once the first discourse is sent out until the end of the 33rd week. In that duration of time, it shall be only you and the I Am presence. That is the objective of this I Am Freedom class, and that is the jumping into the deep end of the pool to see who can swim and who can tread water. That is what you're all signing up for here. Let us end Lesson 4 here for today, and we shall continue tomorrow. Benediction. Great happiness, the mighty presence and power which I am. I qualify you to go forth in the hearts of mankind, anchoring there and filling their minds, bodies, and homes, filling them with your great happiness. Open the door of their consciousness so that the mighty power which I am can come forth in full protection. O mighty presence, hold the children of light, the individualities of God, hold them close in your embrace, letting your quality flow forth in their command, filling them with your great peace. O mighty presence of justice, enter in and reign in all the official places. Let the destructive intent of mankind be revealed, that it may be cast out and consumed. Let the fullness and power of your radiant light enfold all, and your glorious transcendent light fill all places. Part 4. Sue. Pluto Expansion. 27th November 2018. Sue. Having read this discourse from Saint Germain, I would like to share some insights which I trust will clarify the question. Since 1932, many imbalances, disturbances, and control, and let us remain on the subject of America, only for reference sake, have continued unabated. So many decrees, invocations have been declared over time, but still today there are far more of those imbalances that were being addressed in the invocations back in the 1930s and 1940s. If the I Am discourses are so powerful and so potent, why have they not worked, allowing the dark forces and so-called evil to remain and thus continuing to maintain their holds upon humanity today? At the end of Part 3, Saint Germain ends with the statement, And so, because everything moves in cycles, we can once again come forward to work together with humanity in ways we could not have done before. This time with a new cycle of greater power, awareness, steadfastness, will, and purpose. We can work in a more expanded capacity with the higher resonances and light quotients of the New World servers who are in co-creative unity within their living organism groups. The cycle I speak of, we shall go into detail in the next discourse. The cosmic cycles that are unfolding through time and space reveal the state of human consciousness as humanity responds and reacts to the planetary patterns at any given time. Astrological cycles are not random. Within this enfolding cosmic dance, there is a pattern and a pathway which we, as human beings, intimately link with our own evolutionary journey. All of the planets are, from another level, condensed frequencies of consciousness, which are seen through human eyes as physical forms. They are the distributors of universal loving consciousness that is, flowing from the 12 constellations, each constellation holding particular principles of light, so that life on Earth might evolve into the highest attributes held within the rays that flow through the cosmos and which are constantly enfolding us. Here on Earth, for eons of time, the orbit of Saturn has been the conscious outer boundary, the container or gestational sac that has held life on Earth within a group consciousness based upon ego and the concept of me. But then the sac was breached in 1781 with the discovery of Uranus and in 1846 by the discovery of Neptune. Uranus is the higher frequency of Mercury, linking to the higher mind, and Neptune is the higher frequency of Venus, linking to the higher heart and unconditional love. Over the last 238 years, Uranus and Neptune have been infusing, dissolving, and penetrating the sac, with the aim to fundamentally expand our awareness and consciousness. Up until 1781, our reincarnational journey would have remained much the same. We would have incarnated into a world where a horse and cart were the means of transportation which had remained steady over centuries and centuries of time, but with the conscious sighting of the transpersonal planets of Uranus and Neptune, each conscious sighting of a planet marks an evolutionary turning point. We opened up to a new level of mental creativity, designing cars, trains, planes, and by the 1960s we were sending men to the moon. The mind has indeed greatly expanded, but as of this moment is not balanced by the wisdom of Neptune and unconditional love. The evolution of consciousness from the ego/shadow state to the transpersonal/gift level to the eventual city level of universal galactic consciousness through the cosmic planetary cycles of time. The advent of Uranus and Neptune into our consciousness on this planet was a divine necessity. For the higher mind and higher heart have to be consciously integrated if we are to handle the arrival of Pluto, which came into our awareness on 18th February 1930 at 170 degrees of Cancer 48. From egoic to galactic consciousness. Pluto is the higher resonance of Mars, requiring that we move beyond personal will to higher will. It flows with the consciousness of the first ray of will and power and expands us directly to the galactic rather than the solar field, and as such directly to Shambhala and the monadic plane. Pluto's resonance is of such a depth and intensity that it brings to the surface emotional and mental imprints that have remained for lifetimes within the group unconsciousness field beneath our conscious radar in order to be consciously cleansed and integrated. So in the 1930s, when the I Am discourses were being transmitted to the earth from the hierarchy via Shambhala, you can see how the transmission via Pluto initially allowed for the clarity and the messages to be received at this high level, and for ascension to accelerate. And if the overall consciousness of humanity had remained at a sufficient frequency of light, this would have remained the case. However, because of the background resonance of fear of the collective unconsciousness that had to be brought to the surface, we witnessed in the first 2 decades after the sighting of Pluto not only the Second World War and the advent of the plutonium bomb that fell on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, but over the following 7 decades the continuing karmic ripples that have continued to play out through the escalation of weaponry in wars and conflicts. We, as humanity, have to mature into another level of consciousness if we are to handle this power. We have to grow into an expansive understanding of how we are all interconnected to each other, and the second ray of unconditional love of the Piscean age has to become innate within the human, which is a prerequisite for monadic consciousness as we move into the Aquarian age. At the time of discovery, Pluto on 18 February 1930 was activating gene key 53, moving from the shadow of immaturity to the gift of expansion, to the city level of superabundance. Expansion is a process of transcending and including. In a human being, the expansion of frequency can only occur in one way, through the heart. The 53rd gift has the quality of bhakti, or devotional energy. As you allow awareness to expand, it opens your heart. You see the evolutionary impulse in all of life, all interconnected, all one. The 53rd gift gives way to the bhakti, the ever-expanding, transcending, and including energy of life itself. Once you make this shift into your heart, you are continually replenished and expanded. Pluto, as the gatekeeper into a galactic higher consciousness, has a truly spiritual purpose: to realign us individually and as a group into a field of superabundance. Pluto is here to teach us that there is nothing to fear, no need for the great collective shadow of death that has created such distortion on this planet. For it is in the 53rd gene key that we learn. The great truth of the 53rd city is that life consists of endless beginnings but not endings. This is the true meaning of superabundance. At the Siddhic level, your identification with your body, destiny, and self totally dissolves, leaving you in a mystical state of pure emptiness and availability. The mind is no longer following the arc of evolution, but finally rests in its true nature as superabundant being. This is the message that Pluto was releasing and activating within the collective consciousness on 18th February 1930, and which is being reinforced right now as Pluto orbits far out in space, and God willing, these last 80 or so years have assisted enough individuals to mature sufficiently to handle and anchor the intensified and refined frequencies that are flowing down through the cosmos via Pluto during these next years at their highest potentials. For right now, we are at a pivotal point in time, for Pluto is now at a crucial point in its orbital cycle. Pluto takes 248 years to orbit the Sun, and because it has such an elliptical orbit, it has now come to the opposition point, i.e., 180 degrees away from where it was discovered. Not in 124 years as you would expect, but for the first time on the 26th of January 2017, it was positioned at 170 Capricorn 48. Again on the 24th of July 2017, and finally on 30th November 2017, triggering gene key 54, moving from greed to aspiration to ascension. At the end of October 2018, transiting Pluto was still within 1 degree of exact opposition, and will still be triggering the discovery point until the end of 2020. As shared the other day, as of 6th January, transiting Pluto is activating gene key 60. A human being who is embodying the 61st city is nothing but a human vehicle manifesting pure universal consciousness. As such, this angular alignment of transiting Pluto to its discovery point is creating a conduit and a reinforcement that allows for a clear transmission from universal consciousness via Shambhala and facilitates the reconnection to all that was taught in the 1930s within the I Am discourses, which was seeded at that time so that we might, at this point in time, take its revelations into the next level of unfoldment as the living embodiment of those principles. This, I believe, underpins all that the Ega is here to do.